Nikkei Asia News Roundup
with Jada and Brian. Welcome to the Nikkei Asia News Roundup with your hosts Jada and Brian,
bringing you the latest updates and insights on the dynamic world of Asia and more.
Now let's delve into the headlines. This program is brought to you by Nikkei.
Taiwan has become the world's largest importer of Russian naphtha, with purchases of the oil product over the first half of 2025 soaring sixfold since Moscow's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, raising concerns over economic security, especially in the semiconductor industry.
The Indonesian government has entered into debt restructuring negotiations with China over its high-speed rail project, with losses mounting and little prospect of a turnaround after 2 years in service.
From bullion bars emblazoned with a lion design in Singapore to a new mining project in Indonesia, gold-related business is roaring in Southeast Asia as companies look to tap the surge in prices for the precious metal.
A de facto Chinese ban on American beef is boosting cattle farmers and exporters in Australia, as new modeling suggests the country is set to reap even more benefits from U.S. President Donald Trump's efforts to reshape global trade.
Going to the movies in Singapore has been regarded as a national pastime, along with shopping. But movie theaters, large and small, are now going out of business as filmgoers haven't returned to cinemas to the level they did before the COVID-19 pandemic.
Malaysia's Capital A, the parent of budget carrier Air Asia, aims to exit its classification as a financially distressed company on the local bourse by the end of this year, according to CEO Tony Fernandez. Now moving on to the next segment.
Inside the fight to stop Asia's deadly elephant wars. Elephant wars are being waged in 13 countries across Asia and more than 20 in Africa. In Asia, India harbors the continent's largest elephant population and suffers the most casualties among both pachyderms and humans. No fewer than 121 of India's estimated 30,000 wild elephants were killed in the year to March 2024, along with 629 people, according to government statistics. In Sri Lanka, the conflict claims the lives of some 100 humans and 400 elephants each year, according to Manga Bay, a U.S. environmental news portal. The roots of this tragedy are clear. Robbed of their natural habitats by the felling of forests, agricultural expansion, and other human encroachments, elephants must starve or venture out of their traditional homes to find food. When they do, death and destruction result. Aggressive elephants have ravaged tea plantations, rice fields, and fruit orchards, and stridden boldly into towns. Rural inhabitants, often living a marginal existence, are by far the most numerous victims, but forest rangers also die. Many schemes are in operation to avoid elephant deaths. In some areas, Indian Railways is employing an AI-enabled distribution acoustic sensing system to detect elephants that are near or on railway tracks. Despite such initiatives, a government report notes that India's elephant population dropped by 20% between 2017 and 2022. Similar declines are being recorded in other Asian countries, but ending the conflict between elephants and humans is a complex and delicate matter.
Chinese crypto scam victims face uphill battle after record $7 billion seizure. Hundreds of thousands of Chinese victims caught in a Bitcoin Ponzi scheme likely face years of legal battles to recover their losses, due to challenges in linking their claims with 61,000 Bitcoins seized by the UK government. Shan Jimin, also known as Zhang Yadi, a 47-year-old accused of masterminding a Bitcoin investment scam in China, pleaded guilty in a London court at the end of last month to 2 charges related to money laundering using cryptocurrencies. The news brought initial relief to Chinese investors who suffered losses from the scheme. But their hopes of recovering their assets were quickly overshadowed by suggestions the British government would seek to keep the majority of the bitcoins seized from Shan, now worth over $7 billion. Lawyers representing some of the victims in China are working on presenting evidence that would connect the investors' funds to the seized coins. From 2014 to 2017, Shan amassed over 43 billion yuan or $6 billion by selling wealth management products with promised dividend payouts to retail investors under a Chinese company. She fled to the UK in 2017 with investors' funds and later transferred them into crypto with the help of Wen Jian, a Chinese delivery worker living in London.
And now for news highlights. Today, we are sharing a couple of Nikkei Asia's most well-read stories in the last few days.
And looking at the ranking, it seems like just looking at the headlines, there's a lot of Vietnam and Japanese stories this week.
Yeah, let's touch on the Japanese politics stuff.
Much happening
Yes,
there.
because as I joked last week, Japanese politics decided to be interesting, which it's interesting if you're into the politics stuff, but this week it's very much got some meat to it.
Yeah, because in the week that, well, since last week, Japan's biggest ruling coalition, has broken off its alliance, right?
Yeah, the very large Liberal Democratic Party, which for most of the last 7 decades has been the party in charge.
Mm-hmm.
But they also rule through coalitions from time to time, and their biggest and longest-lasting coalition partner is called the Komeito.
Yes.
And the big deal is that last Friday they dropped out of the coalition.
Komeito. So they've been in an alliance since 1999, I think. So quarter century alliance. They broke off because of not being able to agree on terms about tightening the rules over political donations. This has to do with like this whole political funds scandal that the LDP had a few years ago. Much happening, but I guess the focus is, so the new LDP leader, Sanae Takaichi, what is she going to do? Because there's going to be a vote for the prime minister.
Yeah, she is now
position.
the president of the party, which usually means that she would become the next prime minister when the Diet convenes, which is in just a few days. But that's now up in the air.
Yes, and she's trying to scramble to meet with opposition party leaders to secure enough votes or support. So that'll be, I'm sure we will touch again on this in the coming weeks once the prime minister election is held.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of stories we have on this, at least 1 or 2 a day.
Yeah.
But only one of them made the top 5, and I'm wondering if it's kind of like that thing where 2 stars of the same movie are competing for an Oscar, so they cancel each other out.
Yeah.
But then there's 2 stories in the top 10 that are about Vietnam.
Yes. Should we go with the lighthearted one or the more serious one? I'm not sure.
Let's do the serious one. Let's get the serious one out of the way.
This was a feature story. We have a Tuesday feature story called ASEAN Money. So it's about how Southeast Asian countries and how money is moving within that region. But this one is about Vietnam's push to become an international financial center. IFC, that it's abbreviated as, and it's basically like a region or a hub that's a concentration of a wide variety of international financial sector businesses like fintech, crypto, asset management, banking, all that.
And one of the interesting aspects here is that it's one financial center, so to speak, but it's 2 locations.
Yes, Vietnam is trying to make a dual hub, it seems like, and it's Ho Chi Minh City. I think a lot of people are familiar with that, and maybe not as much, but Da Nang is another spot, and it's both on sort of the coastline, right, by beaches.
Yeah, if you look at a map, Da Nang or Da Nang, I always call it Da Nang now, I don't know my pronunciation, but it's right about in between Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. And Hanoi's right at the north of the country, and Ho Chi Minh City's on the south, so it's right in the middle.
Yeah. And just to give a sense of what is a international financial hub or financial center, there's sort of a index ranking of countries or cities that are considered, top level financial centers. And Number 1 is New York, followed by London. In Asia, it's Hong Kong, Singapore at the top.
And then there's a slew of American cities, San Francisco, Chicago, Los Angeles. Then we get to China with Shanghai and Shenzhen. And then Seoul, Dubai, Tokyo are in the teens. But then down on the list
Yes.
at 95 is Ho Chi Minh City.
Yes, and they're trying to get that up by making this dual hub, become a realization. And they're the article points out that Vietnam is trying to take hints from Dubai. So London and Singapore are more so financial centers that came out of trade hubs, but Vietnam is trying to model Dubai, which is where the government is rolling out, preferential policies to lure a lot of investors in foreign capital.
Now, when they're taking time off from investing, they might want to see the country a little bit, and they can do that through some new trains that are going up, right?
I like how you segued into that. Yes, we mentioned the lighthearted story, but there seems to be a lot of train trips in Vietnam that are launching up. So
Vietnam's a very narrow but long country, so trains are probably a very helpful way to get around.
And I think one of the latest ones that opened is the Hanoi train from Vietnam Railways, and this it was launched in September, and you can it's a trip between Hanoi and Tucson Station. That's about 20 kilometers away, and the trip takes about 3 to 4 hours. You can it stops so you can visit historical sites. A lot of people, actually locals, are wear traditional outfits and enjoy the whole spiel thing. But there's luxury train.
Oh, it's always the luxury. This reminds me. We have a lot of stories over the years of trains in Japan that are trying to add local flavor, go to different destinations. And there's ones that are thousands of dollars for a ticket, but you get a luxury suite and all the food and drink you can handle. And then there's like buses that have craft beer on them. And I always found them very tempting, but I've never done one.
Yeah.
But now maybe I have an excuse to go to Vietnam.
Oh, definitely.
And that brings us to the close of today's episode.
We look forward to having you join up again for the next edition of the Nikkei Asia News Roundup.
Stay informed, stay curious. Until next time, I'm Jada.
And I'm Brian. See you again, and take care. This program is brought to you by Nikkei.